Go ahead, take a seat. Go ahead, take a seat. Appreciate that very much. Excited to be here. You know, you got this theme called Be the Light, and I want you to realize you already are the light. You don't have to need to work at it. You need to allow it to come out. So I'm actually going to start with a brief little exercise around the light. The highest qualities of the light are love, joy, appreciation, and gratitude. And what I'd like you to do is to close your eyes right now for a moment. Just close your eyes. Very good. And focus on your breathing. Allow your breathing to get slower, deeper. Maybe inhaling for the count of 6, exhaling for the count of 8. And I want you to imagine as you're breathing in through a opening in your chest, not your mouth or nose, but an opening in your chest, and it's going right into your heart. And imagine your heart filling, each breath you take, your heart expands. Like a balloon, when you blow it up, the next breath makes it bigger. And imagine that light coming in is radiant white light. That air coming in is radiant white light, filling your heart with light. And then begin to focus on some person, animal, place, or thing that you really appreciate. It could be a person, your spouse, a child, parent, friend. It could be an animal, a pet, place in nature, spiritual retreat, or a thing like your piano that you really appreciate. And see if you can allow your entire body to be filled with that appreciation. With each breath, it grows brighter, bigger. And then imagine sending that light out through your heart, like a beam of light, like a spotlight, to that person, animal, place, or thing. And see that light surrounding them, filling them, and protecting them so that they receive that appreciation. And then imagine pulling that light back into your heart and sending it down through your entire body, up into your head, your neck, your shoulders, your torso, your legs, your feet. Going by all those patches you have on your body. And then when you're ready, you can open your eyes, come on back into the room. Very good. So we're present now in the light. So I want to just share with you, first of all, if you'll notice, I have a brace on my wrist, so some people will notice that and wonder why. I broke my wrist a couple weeks ago, fell, tried to block it with my hand. I've got, what do I have on here? Glutathione, Lifewave, all the different things we're supposed to do. So I got introduced to this company a couple years ago from a woman who's now a senior presidential director, SPD. And so I've been using the products for a couple of years, and so I'm really grateful to you and to David and all the people. So anyway, I always start with some cartoons. And the reason I do that is when you laugh, you secrete endorphins into your brain, which get you high. And you remember more when you laugh than you do if you're not happy. So if you look up on the screen, it says, well, it seems your weight is perfect. You just happen to be 11 feet too short. It says, what fits your busy schedule better, exercising 1 hour a day or being dead 24 hours a day? He says, I take it you haven't had sex for a while. You know what emoticons are? We have them on our phone. These are Botoxicons. Says, of course I'm angry. You just coughed up an orange hairball. Last time I checked, we're both gray. Now, during the pandemic, people said you either became a hunk, a chunk, or a drunk. A hunk because you sat in front of your computer doing Zoom calls all day long, not exercising. A chunk because you had a lot of time to work out. Or actually a hunk because you worked out, chunk because you sat. And drunk because a lot of people just drank a lot of alcohol. And so it kind of is a lead into this guy here. He says, my two hobbies are smoking marijuana and rescuing stray cats. He says, after listening to his owner drone on for hours, Ralph suddenly realized he was not cut out to be an emotional support dog after all. Never buy a dog when you're drunk. All right. So at one time, J. Paul Getty was the richest person in America. Now it's Elon Musk. But he said there were 3 secrets to success. He said, number 1, get up early. Number 2, work hard. Number 3, find oil. He was very successful. However, I think that you have found oil because you found Lifewave. You have an amazing company, amazing founder, great comp plan, philanthropic energy that underlies the whole organization. When you have that, you have a great company. And so anyway, I'm really excited to be here to help you even be more successful in getting that word out. The promise I make you is if you do what I teach you today, you can double your income and double your impact very quickly. Sometimes people do it in 3 months. Sometimes people do it in a year. Sometimes people 10x their income in a year based on what I'm about to teach you today. You can double your time off. Work less, make more. Wouldn't that be fun? Have more balance in your life and have a greater balance of happiness, meaning, and fulfillment. So that's what we want to have for you. Now, just to give you a couple examples, this woman took a seminar with me, just a one-day thing, tripled her income in 1 year. John Caleb, I was in the Philippines, I did a talk. He came to that talk, and he was homeless. I met him the night before. I invited him to come as my guest. I gave him a copy of my book, The Success Principles. I came back 4 years later, and this was him. He had a wonderful logo on his jacket. He had 12 people behind him, like an entourage with the same logo. He had become was a 4 times millionaire, multi-million, in just 4 years. In 4 years, and I said, John, you don't look like the same guy. He said, I'm not. I said, what did you do? What happened? He said, Jack, I read your book. I did everything in it for a year. I said, no one's done everything in it for a year. He said, I did. I looked at you, you were happy. I'm 80 years old. He said, you look a lot younger than you are. He said, you're happily married, you're successful, you're a multimillionaire. I don't have that. I'm going to do what you did. And as a result, I became a multimillionaire. He ended up becoming a speaker, teaching the same work in the Philippines. This was in Manila. And he called the Money Magnet now. It just gives you a sense of how many people he talks to on a monthly basis, all because he applied the principles, some of which you'll be learning today. Again, woman in India, preschool teacher, went on to become very successful as a speaker. All right, here's an interesting story. Andres Pira. Andres had gone to Phuket in Thailand. He was homeless again. He had got down there, ran out of money from Sweden, and he was sleeping on the beach towel at night with his suitcase as a pillow, and he was eating about 25 cents worth of noodles every day, and that was it. And he called a friend, or texted a friend in Sweden, said, would you send me $100? And the guy texted back, you weren't that good a friend, why would I send you $100? He said, but I will send you a digital copy of a book called The Secret. And how many of you read or saw the movie or read the book, The Secret? If you haven't, please do. It's kind of required reading or required viewing. Anyway, he watched that and talked about the law of attraction, visualizing, affirming, believing you can get what you want. And he said, I thought it was BS, but I had nothing better to do. So I visualized a cup of coffee, hadn't had coffee in months. And he said, I imagined it going up to my nose, smelling the aroma, tasting it, feeling it going down, feeling the buzz going out through my body. Did that for 2 days. Third morning, someone wakes him up, says, hi, I've noticed you've been sleeping under this palm tree on the beach. I have the jet ski concession down the beach. I just felt like I should get you a cup of coffee. And he went, whoa, maybe this isn't BS. So he said he started to visualize a meal. And to him, a meal was like a steak, potatoes, vegetables, salad, dessert, all of that. And he did that for a few days. And then what happened, he's walking down the beach, guy's coming toward him and he says, are you from Sweden? He says, yeah. He said, did you go to such and such school? He said, yeah. I think I was a year ahead of you. Let me buy you lunch. So they go out and he has a lunch. All the things he visualized. Whoa, this is really working. So now he visualized having a job. He got a job, bought a motor scooter, was working at a timeshare thing. And one day, he was out front, go in and talk to the people about the timeshares. You've seen those things on vacation, perhaps. He goes in, and he's doing this work, and one day a guy comes by, and he says, I'd like to go look at a condo, maybe a timeshare. And the guy says, nobody's here. All the salespeople are gone. He said, I only got an hour. Got to go catch a plane. He said, well, tell you what, if you don't mind riding on the back of my moped, I'll take you to a place I think you might like. So he gets on the moped, they go look at it, the guy says, I'll take it, comes back, sales manager's there, does the deal, now he's a salesperson. Now he starts visualizing being a sales manager. A year later, he's a sales manager. Then he said, the people making the real money are the ones who are building the condos. So he started a construction company, and now he builds resorts, hotels like this, etc., and is a multi-millionaire. From the age of 19 to 35, when I met him, he was worth $3 billion. So in 15 years, that's possible. Well, think about this. Life is like a combination lock. If you know the right numbers in the right order, the lock has to open. Doesn't matter if you graduate high school or not, college or not, black, white, yellow, brown, male, female, Paris, Texas, Paris, France. Doesn't matter where you live. Doesn't matter your IQ. If you know the combination, the lock has to open. And so the reality is, I'm going to share with you today some numbers in that combination that if you do the right thing in the right order, in the right way, at the right time, you can create anything you want in any area of your life. But especially, since we're here, in terms of your business, being a brand partner, wanting to make a difference, make money, have influence, all that you can do if you apply these principles. Some of which you'll already be doing, some of which you know about, but you're not doing. So I'll remind you and then make the commitment to do them. So I teach a system of success. A system is something that produces a consistent result every time. So again, it's the right thing in the right way, in the right order, at the right time. So if you want to do more, if you want to look at more about this later, I do have 2 books. Also, I wrote the foreword to the Homeless to Billionaire book I just talked about. And I wrote the foreword to a book called The $1 Billion Secret. A friend of mine interviewed 21 billionaires, different ages, all different businesses, all different countries. And I'll share one thing he found out. Number 1, every one of these billionaires got up at 5:30 or earlier in the morning. Every one of them meditated every day, and they all read for at least an hour a day. And they exercised for at least 30 minutes a day. So what does that mean? 81-year-old in China who makes more windshields than anyone in the country. A guy in Russia who's opening up a grocery store, a big supermarket about every 7 days. Doesn't matter what they were doing, they were all doing some things you need to learn to do. So if you're not meditating, if you're not getting up early, if you're not exercising, if you're not reading to keep your mind positive, then you're not doing the things that you need to do. I like to say success leaves clues. People who've been successful leave clues. They write books, they run seminars, they do podcasts, etc. So you're here because you know that, and you're learning from all these different people who've been successful. So, number 1, if you are one that's writing stuff down, this is one of the things you want to write down. One of my friends calls it a writer-downer. So take 100% responsibility for your life and your results. Notice it doesn't say 99%. How would you like to be married to someone who's 99% committed to monogamy? Right? Every day you'd wonder, well, is today the day? They're going to cheat, whatever. So 100% committed to the idea that you are 100% responsible for your life. We're going to unpack that a little bit. So here's a little formula. It says E plus R equals O. Again, everything I'm teaching you today is contained in this formula. What does it stand for? Events. Whatever's happening in the world is an event. The election coming up is an event. The people running are events. The TV shows you watch are events. What's happening in the world, the recession, the pandemic, these are all events. It's not the event that determines your outcome, it's your response to that event. And that response, if you study the responses of highly successful people, and I've interviewed over 200 or 300 of them in my life, they have a different way of thinking, different ways they visualize, different behaviors they do. And if you do those, then you get the outcomes we're talking about. So what you're currently experiencing is an outcome of how you responded to an earlier event. So if you're overweight, the event was food, the response was you ate it. If someone said, let's go to the gym, that was an event, and you said, no, I'm gonna sit here and watch the reruns of The Bachelor, and you say, okay, result is you didn't get fit. So the reality is all your outcomes are a result of your responses. And most people, when they don't get the outcome they want, what they do is they, instead of change the response, they blame the event. And that doesn't work, but we're doing it all the time. Look at our country right now. Each side, Democrats, Republicans, blaming the other side for everything that doesn't work. And it's not getting us too far in that process. So this is your power. Change your response. Now think of it this way, 2 + 2 = 4. If you're happy with 4, your income, your health, your relationships, then don't change anything. However, what often happens is the world changes. All of a sudden there's a pandemic, or a new product comes out, or your husband decides to leave you, or someone you love dies. It's an event. Now you've got to do more to get back to 4. And sometimes, like the pandemic, it was like 0. Fortunately, we had a lot of solutions for people during that time. That was a good thing. But the idea again of if you want 4, you got to do 2. And if you want 5, called more income, better health, better relationships, you're going to have to up your ante and do 3. That's going to make you uncomfortable. Let me do a little exercise with you. Everyone fold your hands like this. Fold your hands. Notice which thumb's on top, left or right. How many have your left thumb on top? Raise your hand. Look around. These are the sexy people. Okay? How many have your right thumb on top? Look around. These are the better thinkers. Okay? Now, any of you have your 2 thumbs together, neither one on top? 1, 2 people. These people think they're sexy even when they're not. So we did research on this. But seriously, do this. Fold your hands again. Now what I want you to do is unfold your hands, move all the fingers up a notch so the other thumb's on top. Don't just move the thumbs, but move all the fingers so the other thumb's on top. How does that feel? Weird, awkward, wrong, strange, yucky. What does your body want to do? Wants to go back. Let it go back to the first position. How's that feel? Better. Right here, ladies and gentlemen, is why most people never succeed in life. They would rather be comfortable than uncomfortable. Everything that you're being asked to do that's new, because the way your brain is wired up, is going to be uncomfortable. First time you learn to drive a car, if you ever learn to ski, first time you cooked a meal for your family, first speech you ever gave, first person you ever tried to enroll into the Lifewave family, it was awkward, it was uncomfortable. However, we have research that shows if you hold your hand in the wrong position, the uncomfortable position, for about 5 minutes, it stops being uncomfortable. Many of you now are comfortable. You can't wait to go and enroll people. I was working with a relationship marketing company a couple years ago. It was in Vegas. And people ran out of the seminar and started going up to people on the slot machines to enroll them in their product. In other words, everyone's a possible person that you can make a difference in their life, right? So E + R = O. The new R's are going to be uncomfortable. Research at Pepperdine University this a couple years ago, all people that are successful are comfortable being uncomfortable. The more comfortable you are with being uncomfortable, the more successful you'll be. And you get comfortable being uncomfortable by being uncomfortable and surviving. Self-confidence is the result of surviving a risk. Does that make sense? So you choose something, you didn't die. Next time you do it, it's better. Eventually you become confident. Now, E plus R equals O. What's your name? Paige? So Paige, if I said you're the biggest idiot I've ever met in my life, I've done this seminar, thousands of people, millions of people, literally in 51 countries around the world, sometimes 70,000 people in a stadium. You have to be the biggest jerk and idiot I've ever met. Now, if I said that to her, how many think that might make her self-esteem go down? Raise your hand. Okay, everyone that just raised your hand failed the first pop quiz on E plus R equals O. It's not what Jack says to Paige, it's what Paige says to Paige when Jack stops talking. It's her response to my comment, right? She might have said, my God, he's only known me 25 minutes. How'd he figure it out so fast, right? Her self-esteem would go down. Or she could say, I'm in the front row. I got a great smile. I've been smiling at this guy. I'm attractive. And he probably just attracted to me. That's why he picked me. Which way would her self-esteem go then? It would go up, right? So it's not, no one can make you feel bad unless you go inside and tell yourself all these things. You go to enroll someone and they say, I can't believe you're trying to enroll your brother in this new business of yours, And if you go inside, yeah, maybe I shouldn't do that. I'm a bad brother. Or my mother's going to not like me, then you're going to feel bad. But if you just go, well, I'm doing what I do. It helps people. If he's got a problem with that, that's his problem. And you move on, then you don't feel bad. So the reality is you are responsible for how you feel. You're responsible for your self-talk, the beliefs you have, all of that. Okay, so only 3 responses you have control over: thoughts, images, behaviors. So we're going to talk about that. Thoughts. Number 1, you have to give up all blaming. Look at the things we blame: the economy, the banks, prices, the pandemic, the government, the president, the 2 different parties right now who are running for president, the traffic, the weather, other countries, board of directors, the internet, AI, a million things we blame. Here's the deal. All of those things are events. They're things in the outside world which you have very little or none control of, but then we blame it so we don't have to take responsibility. Why is it that some people in the same pandemic made $1 million that year, other people went bankrupt? Same pandemic, 2 different responses. So these are all just events. You have to give up complaining. Complaining is just blaming to someone else. Oh, it's so terrible. I can't believe my husband did this. My kids are doing that. My mother's doing this. Again, you're thinking it's out there that's making you not win, right? So the reality is that you are in charge. I want you to point to your head like the lady on the screen. And on the count of 3, we're going to say, if it's meant to be, it's up to me. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. If it's meant to be, it's up to me. Very good. Your success is in your hands, nobody else's. You get to choose if you're going to play the game or not. So the first step is you got to decide what you want. Decide what you want. To get from here to there, you have to decide where is there. So let's look at that. Now, in a moment, I'm going to ask you to create a breakthrough goal, a goal that's so big that kind of would flabbergast you 1 year from now if you actually achieve it. 5 times a year income, becoming an elite SPD, thank you. Not STD, SPD, very good. All right. So what happens is, whatever that goal is, you can have it. But here's what happens. When most people go to set a big goal, they can't see how to do it. Oh, how could I do that? I live in this little small town in Ohio. It's not like I'm in LA. I don't have all these people. I didn't go to college. I don't have a lot of big network, whatever. And then you don't see the how, so you don't commit to the what. So I'm going to ask you to commit to the what, and then I'm going to teach you some things, and the how will show up out of that if you do them. All right. You have a GPS in your body, just like your car or your smartphone. I call it a goal-producing system. It's called your subconscious mind, and we're going to learn how to work with that. I love this cartoon. 2 spiders. He says, if we pull this off, we'll eat like kings. Big vision, right? So big vision. I want you to have a big vision. Don't let yourself settle for less. I was interviewing for my book, and I interviewed General Wesley Clark. He was the head of NATO forces for a while. And he said, it doesn't take any more effort to dream a big dream than it does to dream a small dream. You don't have to scrunch up your face more. It doesn't burn more calories. It doesn't make more neurons fry in your brain. You just put another zero behind it. You just decide to make it bigger. It's a decision in the game. All right. Richard Branson said, if it doesn't scare you, they're too small. If your dreams don't scare you, they're too small. So it should make you feel a little uncomfortable, just like we saw before with the hands. So you want a goal that goes, I want that, but that could be a little challenging. That's good. So there's a concept, came from the Harvard Business School, called a BHAG, Big, Hairy, Audacious Goal. They found that individuals and companies that had big, hairy, audacious goals were much more successful than ones who didn't. So I want you to set a goal in a minute that's big enough that if you achieve it, it will really be exciting for you, but also you'll have to grow in order to achieve it. And here's the thing, it's not about the money, it's not about any of that, it's about who you become in the process. We all know people who became millionaires, their house burned down in one of the fires, we just saw all the people in Nashville, their homes washed away, but who they became in the process of creating that can never be taken away. You know, I'm an author. I wrote a book. It was very difficult to write my first book. The reality is, once I wrote that, I knew how to write a book. I could never not know how to write a book. I could never not know how to promote it. So what we want to do is set a goal that's so high it's going to require you to grow, to stretch out of your comfort zone, because the growth is really the most important benefit in addition to the impact of what you all are doing. So Mark and I set a goal back in 1992 to positively impact 1 billion lives through inspirational books like Chicken Soup for the Soul, speeches, audio programs, trainings, and philanthropy. We've sold 350 million copies of Chicken Soup just in China. And worldwide now, 600 million copies of that book, over 500 million books, because we set that goal. In India, the average book is read by 3 people. So we've already reached 1 billion people, and we continue to go on. Because do we know how to do that? We didn't have a clue. But we committed to it, and then people would come, you want to go to China? You want to go to India? I can help you do that. It starts to happen for you. So we're going to use the power of goal setting to achieve what you want. And we're going to set a breakthrough goal, and this is a goal that will quantum leap your personal success or professional success, and will require you to grow to achieve it. So, give you a couple examples of people in the past who set goals with me. Create my own 5-minute radio show. Chiropractor in Texas did this, got on the drive time radio, and he would do like 5 minutes in the morning, like from somewhere between 7:30 and 9, talked about chiropractic, subluxations, nutrition, exercise, hydration, all these different things. And pretty soon, everyone's listening to this show. He had to open up 4 satellite offices in a year, and he would go to each office Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and hired other people coming out of Parker Chiropractic School, which is here in Dallas, to man or woman those offices. The reality is he became a multimillionaire simply from one goal. Write and publish a book. Changed my life. Open up China as a market. You could do that. I've done that. Have 1 million Facebook followers. A lot of people do that. Develop a successful online podcast. I have one now called the Jack Canfield Podcast. Many of you listen to podcasts. Make $1 million your next product launch. Double, triple, or 10 times your income. Become a senior presidential director with Lifewave. All of these are breakthrough goals. So I want you to, in a moment, you're going to set a breakthrough goal. And a goal has to be how much by when. Has to be measurable. How many dollars? How many people on your team? How many brand partners do you have? Many square feet in your house? How many dollars in your bank account? Whatever. And by when? Your by when is going to be a year from now, which will be September 19th, 2025. So this is something you're going to accomplish in 1 year. And again, bigger than you think. So I want you to go for what you want, not what you believe is possible. A couple examples. I'd like to increase my income, desire, a hope, a wish, but I will earn an annual income of $180,000 by 5 p.m. October 19th, 2025, okay? Here we go. Like to become a senior presidential director? I will become a senior presidential director with Lifewave by 5 p.m. October 19th, 2025. So again, how much by when? So go ahead and close your eyes for just a second. And I want you to think about, if you could have anything you want, a year from now, what would you choose? What would your breakthrough goal be? Be specific, how much? And the by when is October 19, 2025. All right, open your eyes. And if you have something to write with, please write it down, type it into your cell phone, whatever it might be. I will what, by when? Interestingly, Professor David Cole at Virginia Tech did some research, found that the people who write their goals down, rather than just think them in their head, earn 9 times as much in their lifetime as people who don't. So at the beginning of every year, if you'll write your goals down, even if you just put them in a drawer and forget about them, but it's better if you review them on maybe a weekly or monthly basis, you read your goals. I have 21 goals every year, 3 in every 7 areas of my life: relationships, health, fun and recreation, financial, business, so forth. And I read those, and it reminds me, I have an affirmation for each one, which I'll talk about in a minute. Now, I just heard a talk recently, this woman who teaches about relationships. She said, imagine you've got 7 balls. You have 7 areas of your life: spirituality and emotional stability, relationships, fun, contribution in the community, etc. She said, 2 of those balls are made out of glass. You can drop 5 of them, they'll bounce back up. 2 are made out of glass. You drop those, they break. The 2 were relationships and health. And you were involved in both. It's called relationship marketing, and you're helping people with health. So those are 2 critical goals. So make sure you have goals for at least those. Write them down, review them regularly. All right. So I'm going to have you in a moment turn to a partner on either side of you. There may end up being a group of 3. And you're going to have 30 seconds to share my breakthrough goal is, and the reason I chose it is. Because we also know that when you declare your goal out loud, it increases the odds of achieving it by 17%. There's research on that, okay? So when you turn, whoever has the longest hair is going to go first, okay? The bald people are all going, wait a second, right? Okay, go ahead and begin. First person, you got 30 seconds. Okay, second person, please. Second person. All right. Go ahead, let me have your attention back here. Shh. Thank you. Next success principle. Once you have a goal, you've set it, you've written it down, you've told somebody about it, you've made a public declaration. Then what happens is you have to choose to believe it's possible. And here's the thing about belief. Belief is a choice. Belief is a choice. I saw a quote the other day. It said, you believed in Santa Claus for 8 years. Could you choose to believe in yourself for at least 8 months? Right? So it's a belief. It's a choice. It's a choice. You just choose to act as if it's true. All right. How many of you read the book Think and Grow Rich? If you haven't, put it on your reading list. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. He wrote, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve. It really is true. You just conceived of it. Now you have to choose to believe it, and then you can achieve it. This was an interesting study. 2 studies, one at Stanford, one at Harvard. According to the Stanford University study, 8% of success is aptitude. I'm not a natural salesperson. So what? You know, it just is what it is. However, some people are, but it's 92% is your attitude. It's your beliefs. Harvard did a similar study. 15% they said was aptitude, 85% attitude. So attitude, belief, your self-talk, what you tell yourself, what you read, what you believe, that is what's affecting your success. So if you choose to believe it's possible, you start to expect it to happen. You expect it to happen. It becomes real. How many of you have ever used Spanx, or you know what Spanx is? All the women in the room, raise your hand. Come on, tell the truth, right? So Sarah Blakely started Spanx. She recently sold it for hundreds of millions of dollars. She's a billionaire. And what happens is, she said, and I totally agree with her, mindset is the single most important thing you have as an entrepreneur. Single most important thing you have. Work on it daily. Now the key words there are work on it daily. What does that mean? That means self-talk, affirmations, reading something uplifting, hanging out with positive people, not blaming, not complaining, taking responsibility, learning new skills. All of that, work on it daily. Meditate, visualize, affirm, all of that daily. It's a process. You're creating new neural pathways in your brain every time you visualize your success. It takes about 30 days to create a new neural pathway. So your set point goes up. You all have a financial set point for how much you're used to earning, just like your temperature gauge in your house, your thermostat. We set it for 72. If it goes above that, air conditioning comes on, goes below that, heating comes up. You have a set point. We know that some people, when their emotional set point or financial set point is one thing, they might make all that money that they're supposed to make for the month in the first 10 days. They screw off for the next 20 days because their financial set point takes over. So we want to raise that by visualizing ourselves and thinking of ourselves as I know there are people in here making $15,000 a month. I've heard there are people making $15,000 a week. And I've even heard rumors there are some people making that much every day. They've been here for a while, right? But the point is, it's possible if you believe it's possible. You expect it. You act as if. You do the things you would do if you knew it was going to work. All right. Muhammad Ali said, impossible is a big word thrown around by small people who find it easier to live in a world they've been given than to explore the power they have to change it. Impossible is not a fact, it's an opinion. And then he said, I changed it to I'm possible. There is no impossible. Now, I need a volunteer to come up on stage with me. Who'd be willing to do that? Sir? Oh. Yeah, I noticed him. So come up and say. What's your name, George? I'm here. George from Mallorca. Okay. Mallorca, Spain. Put your water here.
Yes, sir.
Step over here. And are you right-handed or left-handed?
Right-handed.
How's your left arm doing?
Yeah.
Good? Okay, turn and face that way. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to push down on your left arm. I want you to resist. Don't let me push your arm down, okay? We'll see how strong you are. Good and strong. Now I want you to, we're going to look at the effect of some of your thoughts. I want you to say, I can't, what's something you can't do? You can't sing opera, you can't swim, something you can't do.
Whew. That's a hard one. make me think of things I can't do.
Can you play the piano?
Say again?
Can you play the piano?
I can't play the piano.
Okay, so say, I can't play the piano.
I can't play the piano.
And notice what happens to your arm. Now I want you to say, I can play the piano.
I can play the piano.
And notice what happens to your arm, good and strong. So what is your current rank in this company?
Senior Presidential Director.
Senior Presidential Director.
Senior Presidential Director.
Okay, would you like to be an elite Senior Presidential?
You got it.
I got it, okay, good. So hold that with your right, that or him. So I want you to say, I can't be an elite Senior Presidential Director.
I don't want to say that.
We're gonna fix it, just say it briefly.
Okay, I can't be a Senior Presidential Director.
Notice what happens. Now say, I can.
I can be a senior president, I can be an elite Senior Presidential Director.
Very good, good and strong. Now, I want you to do two other things. I want you to think of somebody you don't like. You're not going to say their name. Could be a public figure, someone out of your life. Do you have someone like that?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So imagine they're sitting in the front row there, and imagine judging them, thinking those thoughts you don't like about them, and notice what happens. Now I want you to send them a loving, forgiving thought, something like, I know you're doing, one of my favorite, I know you're doing the best you can with the limited skills, awareness, and knowledge you have. But just imagine light coming out of your heart toward them. Remember, be the light. And notice what happens now, good and strong. So whenever you're judging anybody or being negative, not just to yourself, but other people, you're weakening yourself. That's true for all of you. Lastly, I want you to do one more thing. I want you to go back here, think of your goal, elite Senior Presidential Director, and only think how it will serve you if you achieve that. Not anyone else, just you. What's the benefit to you alone? Keep thinking that thought. Notice what happens to your arm. Now think only about how it will serve others if you achieve that goal. Keep thinking that. Notice what happens now. Good and strong. So here's the deal. Same goal. When you come from ego and greed, it weakens you. When you come from service, you know this, it strengthens you, right? Okay, give him a hand.
Thank you, Jack.
Thank you.
Let me give you this.
Yeah,
Pleasure.
my pleasure. All right.
Lovely.
All right, very good. So I just want you to see the power of your mind. It's incredible. It's affecting your physiology. It's affecting your behavior. It's affecting so many things. It affects your health, right? All right. So I want you to have an affirmation for your breakthrough goal. An affirmation says, I'm so happy and grateful that I am now, in his case, an elite Senior Presidential Director. I'm going to have that memorized by the end of this talk. Okay. So I'm so happy and grateful that I'm now earning a personal income of $180,000 a year, or whatever you want. Some people like to say, I'm so happy and grateful now that I am earning a personal income. You can decide your way. So write a goal, an affirmation for you. Let's go back to the format. I'll be quiet for a moment. Write it down. Very good. My mentor was a man named W. Clement Stone. He was worth $600 million back in the early 1970s when I worked for him. So that's a long time ago. I'm 80 years old, so I've been doing this for a long time. So what happens is, he said, I want you to set a goal that's so big that when you achieve it, you'll know it's only because of what I taught you that you were able to do it. I said, okay, my goal is to make $100,000 in 1 year. I was making $8,000 a year at that time. So this is 12 times more. I didn't know how to do it, but I did what he taught me to do, which is what I'm teaching you. And here's the story. I made a $100,000 bill. There's real ones. I didn't even know at the time. I just took a $100 bill, put a lot of extra zeros, projected it, made a big drawing of it, put it up on the ceiling. And every morning I wake up, I'd see that $100,000 bill and I'd say, I'm so happy and grateful that I'm now earning and spending and investing $100,000 a year. Nothing happened for 30 days. I'm in the shower. All of a sudden I have a $100,000 idea. Never had one before. There's something called the 30-day principle. Once you've done this for 30 days, something happens in your subconscious mind. We also know that if you do it for 15 days, skip day 16, start again on day 18, literally, it takes another 30 days. That's why consistency is so important. So I had this idea. I have a book I'd written called 100 Ways to Enhance Self-Concept in the Classroom. Every time it sold, I got to make 25 cents. That was my royalty. Now, 400,000 books sold, $100,000 income. I now had a strategy. Didn't know how to do it, but I had a strategy. I started seeing things in my environment that were never there before. I saw a Reader's Digest in my grandmother's bathroom. It said 8 million readers weekly or monthly. I said, wow, if I was in Reader's Digest, certainly 400,000 people would buy my book. So I wrote an article, didn't get published. I called it to see what an ad would cost. It was going to cost $108,000. I said, I do not have that. That won't be happening. But I kept visualizing being in the Reader's Digest. Then I saw the National Enquirer at the supermarket, 12 million readers weekly. So I started visualizing being the National Enquirer. Long story short, I'm in New York. I'm giving a talk at Hunter College. A person comes up to me at the end of the talk and says, hi, I love that talk. I'd like to interview you. I said, who do you write for? She said, the National Enquirer. I'm going, right? So anyway, she wrote it. Book sales went up. We started a bookstore out of our house, little mail order. Now we're making $3 a book net profit because we're buying it wholesale, selling retail. Now we only got to sell 33,000 books. Eventually we started carrying other things. We had a little bookstore, used to take it to conferences. I did not make $100,000 a year. I made, where we go here? 92,325. Was I disappointed? No, I was like blown away. Now my wife says, do you think it would work for $1 million? I said, I think so, let's find out. So created an affirmation, I'm so happy and grateful. Now depositing my $1 million royalty check for my best-selling book. You've seen on Amazon, you can buy these $1 million bills, spread them around, put them on your mirror, whatever. I did that. And then my book, Chicken Soup, came out. And so I thought, okay, $1 million royalty check from Health Communications, the publisher. And look at this, check to me for $1,130,328. And that was for 3 months sales. We got quarterly royalty checks. That year I made $6 million off Chicken Soup for the Soul books. All because of these techniques that we're learning to do here. All right, one of my affirmations a few years ago was I'm happy and grateful that I'm now talking to large convention audiences of 1,000 or more people. What am I doing today? I'm here with you, thousands of people. So the reality is, again, have an affirmation. So write down your affirmation. Would you do that real quick? I'm so happy and grateful. Did you already do that? Okay, moving right along. So let's add one more thing here. The power of visualization. When you visualize, your subconscious mind tries to figure out how to create what it is that you're visualizing. Let me show you. Let's do this exercise first. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to close your eyes. You're going to say your affirmation out loud. You can read it if you want. Then I'm going to ask you to close your eyes and visualize in your body. You're looking out at the world, and you're seeing a world that would describe, that tells you that you've achieved this goal. There's your bank balance. There's all these people in your team. You're meeting somewhere. You're on the cruise, whatever it might be. You are looking in the mirror at your ideal body. But you're in your body looking out. What would you see? Okay, so read your affirmation out loud on the count of 3. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Read it out loud. Okay, one more time like you really care. That was really weak. Here we go. With enthusiasm. 1, 2, 3. Very good. Now close your eyes and imagine you're looking out through your eyes at the world. What would you see that would let you know you've already achieved your goal? Create the image. You're a movie director. Make the images in your mind. Just imagine them, think them, whatever works for you. And what sounds would you be hearing? People congratulating you, the sound of your new Mercedes, whatever it is. And then feel the feelings in your body of what you would feel right now had you achieved that goal. Very good. And go ahead and open your eyes, come back. If you do that every day in the morning when you first wake up and right before you go to bed, do that for 30 days, your subconscious mind will start coming up with solutions. You'll start seeing things in your environment that were always there before. People. You'll have creative ideas. You'll have the courage to take risks. So I've got about a minute and a half to finish up, but I want to share a few things I didn't get to here so you get this full model. Number one, as we go on, number one that you have to do is you've got to take action. The main thing that separates winners from those who don't is they take action. All this other stuff is like, what's the action we need to take? Believe it's possible, visualize, affirm. I teach something called the Rule of 5, which says every day, do 5 things that will help you achieve your goal. Call up 5 potential people that you could market to. Call up 5 people in your team, see how they're doing, coach them, mentor them. If you want to lose weight, do 5 things. Exercise, cut out sugar, cut out carbs, take a walk after dinner, drink more water. 5 things. If you do 5 things every day, by the end of the year, you'll have done 1,800 activities toward your goal. Think about that. A tree with an axe, you take 1,825 whacks at the tree, it's going to come down. That's what we did with Chicken Soup for the Soul. Every day, 5 actions. It took us 14 months to hit a bestseller list. Once we hit that, we went to number 1, stayed there for 5 years. Great quote from brain fog, Microsoft, Bill Gates. Bill Gates said, most people overestimate what they can accomplish overestimate what they can accomplish in 1 year and underestimate what they can accomplish in 10. So basically, you may not get there in 12 months, but you will get there. So you're setting a foundation and keep acting on it. There's a progression. Here's an interesting thing about network and relationship marketing. If you enroll 2 people, and it takes them a month each to enroll 2 people, and those people are trained so that they each enroll 2 people. Get this, 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 16, 32, 64, 128. 32 months later, you'll have reached everyone in the world, the entire 8 billion population. That's how that progression works. So we can affect everyone if we're willing to do the work. So the activity is really important. Persevere, never give up. You're going to have days that are challenging, so what? Get up the next day and go do it. And finally, I would say this. Well, I'll end with that. The action is what's important. Ask for feedback. Ask your downline, your team, ask the people you're working with. On a scale of 1 to 10, how's this working for you? Anything less than a 10, what would it take to make it a 10? And then do that. Most people don't ask for feedback because they're afraid of what they're going to hear. They're talking about it. Trust me, you're the only one who can change it. You're the only one who doesn't know. And lastly, this: if you're interested in pursuing my work, you can go to jackcanfield.com. I have a podcast that comes out twice a month. I interview incredible people. You'll love them all. Number 2, we do Breakthrough to Success seminars twice a year. Usually 300-400 people, 3 days. I also have some coaching groups we do. There's products you can buy, home study courses. Get the books on Amazon.com. And I'll end with this little cartoon, which I can't get to because I didn't get to the end here, but I want to share it with you. It shows 2 unicorns on a rock. Noah's Ark is fading off in the distance. You can see 2 giraffe heads, 2 monkey heads, and one turns to the other and says, "Oh crap, was that today?" So I don't want you to miss the boat. Make a decision today that you're going to do everything you learned at this conference, from me, the other speakers, people you talk to in the hallways. If you apply the actions that you're learning, you will get to where you want to go. So thank you very much. I hope it's been helpful. My pleasure to work with you. Thank you.